So what's up? That's your little baby? Better come with a maid and a butler and everything, don't Rashad, I'm sorry. Excuse me? Aaron, is it? I don't know this person right here. Bet you had a nice little laugh about this, didn't you? Give me back my necklace! What? I said give me my damn necklace back! Man, watch out.
The only thing different about me is my address.
You sure?
I just didn't want you or anybody else judging me the way you're judging me now.
Man, you lied to me. What you expect? Man, what you want from me? Why you here?
I want you to tell me that you forgive me. Tell me that you still care.
I don't. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss ATL. Now this movie is from 2006 and it stars T.I. and Lauren London. Now before we get into all things, man, who is this? It's no. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that. Then we're going to come back and discuss. Up in the club with my girls looking good, feeling sexy, how I'm supposed to be. Skate, hey!
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the video, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for and requested this film. So if you happen to have gotten some Cutty last night, it's not because of me. It's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now, getting into this movie was directed by Chris Robinson. This was in fact his directorial debut. He went on to direct movies such as Beats, and he also directed the BET New Edition story. Now, when you go back and look at his background in the industry as a music video director, it explains so much about why ATL looks the way it looks. As far as its angles, the lighting, the cinematography, the color grading of this film, it looks like an early 2000s music video. And I also thought that it was really notable that this movie was written by Antwone Fisher. The Antwone Fisher? The more you know. Now, being that your girl was all of 15, 16 years old when this movie was released, I vividly remember just how big this movie was. This was around the time that Atlanta, just down south in general, was the epicenter of hip hop. Acts like, Lil Jon, David Banner, East Side Boys, Yin Yang, all of them, and then some were absolutely dominating everything that moved for hip hop culture at the time. And nobody was bigger and popping off in a major way than T.I. From the producers of this movie, Dallas Austin and T-Boz, from T.I.'s representation here, Big Boi, this movie is so freaking ATL. The movie is hella authentic in the way that it presents Atlanta in every way. And this was probably the first movie that I saw that was a teenage coming of age story that wasn't set in New York City or in LA. It was very much so down south. And via my review of House Party, this is one of the few coming of age Black movies that still allow these teenagers to be teenagers. Now, of course, House Party is going to hold that position of not having to attach those teenagers to trauma to tell the story, and they were just allowed to be. Now, of course, we do have trauma here, and they are happening due to the circumstances of our characters, but nobody died. Nobody died, and I'm always going to be here for that and appreciate movies like House Party, ATL, Roll Bounce, and Dope for what we get. We on the grind in Georgia all the time. It ain't nothing on my mind but Georgia. We ain't playing with your country thing. Things at the liquor store. Like, I love the opening. I just love them casting T.I. here. Him here as Rashad is just so befitting and complements this character. There is nothing worse than getting a character who is not from down south and they are trying to imitate the slang, the vernacular. This was absolutely T.I.'s era. He had already released his best 3 albums: Trap Music, Urban Legend, and King. Not only was he, handsome, he had that down south swag. And of course, he wasn't a teenager here, but he always had this boyish, charm about himself. And he was a little smaller in stature, so it worked for the character. This was way before, he started using words and thesauruses to say expeditiously, abundantly clear, salacious, loquacious, like, oh, sir. Long before the scandal, accusations, jail time, the TV show, the kids, T.I. was everything at this moment and perfect casting for this movie. As soon as this movie came on, I zeroed in on Rashad's character and felt totally different, about him than I would feel as a teenager watching this movie. Rashad here as that little big brother to Ant, and just the countless times in movies where I spoke on, parents, mothers, whomever, not allowing their daughters to just be daughters and, them growing up way too fast. I have not had an opportunity to speak on, a boy's behalf in that matter, and this was the perfect time to do so. I remember at least at 16 watching this movie and just felt like Rashad was hella mature for his age, and if they hadn't told us that he was still in high school, I wouldn't have thought he was. Rashad being a big brother to Ant, he has clearly taken on the duty to raise his brother since his parents have passed away. And though we have, Uncle George here, it's very clear in the movie that he sees them as more of a burden and he is not a parent at all to either one of them. Receiving custody of his 2 nephews by default, he strongly feels like these are, circumstances that I never wanted. I would rather, be out living my best life, being a bachelor, getting with this dating service. We are not acting as a parent. We are too busy doing things like rationing out food, cereal, 1 bowl rule in effect. Okay, Uncle George, 1 bowl. Like, even though they do have different circumstances here in this movie due to their parents passing away, it doesn't make it any less potent that we have a lot of these dynamics happen in households to where you have the oldest brother in the family have to step up and be the man of the house. A lot comes with that statement. A lot of households grow up without fathers, and you do have that oldest son, if you happen to have one, become that man of the house, and you have that oldest daughter become the maternal, secondary parent in the house. And nobody really speaks on what that does to a child's psyche. Or that we have Rashad here, who is just so mature and so maternal towards his young brother that even though we are a senior in high school, we have no ambitions to do anything for ourselves. We're only thinking about our brother 24/7. We're not ready to apply to any colleges or think about going on. We are content with the 9 to 5, cleaning, for the family cleaning service. Meanwhile, putting our own dreams and ambitions on hold. Rashad is so content with the way that things are, and he has just accepted his fate as that big brother, as the protector, as the leader of this household, because there is nobody else around to do it. Now, once again, with the acting debut, this was Evan Ross's first role. Did a great job also as not only the younger brother, but he is hard-headed. Ant wants some fast money, he wants attention, I want some bling, and I eventually just want some Cutty. What it is, ho? What's up? What's up? Can a nigga get in them gut you up like you ain't been? Show you all how to really get a nut. Then give me your number and I'll call and I'll follow that ass in the mall. In the mall, take you home. All right. not seeing the potential in anything that his brother has to say, not really taking heed of the guidance that he wants to provide him, and wants instant gratification, quick money that working for the family cleaning business is not going to afford him. But seeing the allure of being a dope boy looks easy enough, and it looks like it could provide me with any and everything that I've ever wanted. Now, though materialistic, child, that thick cubic zirconian jelly bean all day, we also have to get into Ant's circumstances. Not only are we the youngest, so we weren't, afforded as much time with our parents, and then we have this dynamic of our older brother being a strong, heavy-handed father figure, and we have the lacking going on with the person who is supposed to be the adult raising us, Uncle George. And then we also have the brief situation at the school. I love the little moments that we do have at the high school. Like, it was so memorable. The kissing in the hallway, child, the fashions. We were wearing some stuff. But that little, brief moment of, were you in honors classes? Because you ain't got no AC either. Though it's depicted as Ant going off, what are my outlooks when I have a teacher, an educator sitting here telling me that, can you turn on the air? It's hot in here. It feels like a slave ship in here. Yeah, air is strictly for honor students. None of you are, in any expectation to go anywhere. Why would I cut on the air? Like, oh! A lot of things were working against Ant for him to feel like being a dope boy is probably my best option. Now, we also have plenty of side characters to get into via Rashad and his friends group. We have Esquire here, who is the complete opposite of Rashad, who is content with his everyday, not really striving or really reaching his full potential. Esquire, on the other hand, is academically inclined in every single way, whether it's, our GPA, extracurricular activities, going to an Ivy League school across town. Esquire's main goal here is to achieve what he doesn't already have. I want access to success, wealth, college tuition, and opportunities. Not only is he dedicated, but he's hardworking, intelligent, and really passionate, but strictly based off of who he is, his upbringing, where he came from, and his lack of finances. I need to explore every single option that I have to achieve who I want to be. I absolutely love Esquire's dynamic and his character. There is so much diversity here in this cast. Esquire's whole entire situation of this deep-seated resentment that he has for where he grew up, and it's just strongly based on the fact that Esquire has to work so hard just to achieve what he may see when he's in the Ivy League school, or having to change his address, or working at the country club. Everything in front of me is considered a stepping stone, an opportunity to live my best life and leave everything that I felt like has held me down behind. But what is Esquire willing to do to achieve that morally and leave certain things behind? And of course, we have Brooklyn and Teddy, who are both here as comedic relief. Brooklyn is a kid from Brooklyn who just happens to live in Atlanta, and he's trying to fit in. It's so hot out here. Why there's so many flies? And why you gotta call me shawty after every sentence? I'm taller than you. Then why is there a rat on every corner in New York City? Why after every sentence you gotta call me son? I'm not your kid. I'm not your child. Money, beef. And then we have Teddy here, portrayed by the legendary Jason Weaver. Tell your mama I need my money on time. Come on, check in with daddy at the house. Like, I love me some Jason Weaver. This is the perfect opportunity to talk about him. Though he has a small role here in this movie, every single moment that you get with Jason Weaver in your film, he is going to leave a lasting impression. He is one of those few child stars who made it out clean and clear. Not only were we a great actress, we could dance, we were a singer, Lion King, Jackson 5. No one saying do this. No one saying stop that. No one saying see. Now see here. Oh, we'll do it all my way. Come outside, Jason Weaver. So freaking talented. I love Teddy here in this movie. He is clearly that older student who should have graduated by 6 summers ago. And even though he is here for comedic relief, he does add a lot of dimension and diversity in this film as far as the predictions of the men here. There is so much authenticity here. We do have characters in neighborhoods like Teddy. We're not, as ambitious. We 21 years old, man. You still sneaking on the phone? Like, we're still living at home with our mom. He is very content with living in ATL, being in ATL, never leaving, getting into his business of grills. Just so freaking authentic. And everybody don't come on down to college. Everybody don't go to college. Everybody doesn't go to college. Some people find their ambitions elsewhere. And we also see that with a character like Brooklyn, who for majority of the movie, if he isn't digging in that cast, he is going from job to job, really low level fast food jobs until he finds a position that he's good at and he's working his way up. Diversity. Pimp, if you want me, you can find me in the A. I'm on it time and time again. I had to turn back around and tell these that I am that's just the way it goes. I be on that I have you on it. I don't want no more. At this time, I need all my freak hoes to get down on the floor. The soundtrack was popping. Every other scene was like, hey, like, oh my gosh. Getting into the skating. The skating is such an important dynamic within this movie, and it also lends to this childlike feel of the movie. Without the skating being attached to this movie and them competing for, the trophy and the teams that we see, you wouldn't really feel like they were teenagers. Yes, we do have brief moments of them being in high school, but that is still, the one true thing here that attaches them to an innocence. Finding something cohesively within your environment, though, we may be struggling, poor, and constantly always trying to get ahead, we also find joy in so many other things, especially as teenagers, like going to the skating ring and skating, going to your local neighborhood big booty Judy party, or going to the neighborhood pool. As Rashad states at the end of the film, my father said I would put down these skates once I found something more important to do. And it's just that sense of him growing up and no longer needing the crutch of skating. Not, that only kids skate, but that was the one thing here that still tied Rashad into something that he's loved since childhood and that he hasn't put down, just to be everything to Ant in that moment. Now, I love that the director here of this film actually went the extra mile and got all of our people here on screen to actually learn how to skate. We weren't using any stunt doubles cutting away. This was not a roll bounce situation. They actually had to learn how to skate. All of these different teams that we get to meet collectively, and you just see culturally how important skating is. Getting into the skating with this movie and Roll Bounce coming out like a year or so apart from each other, I believe, I wanted to skate so bad. Like, man, I wanted to skate. Like, I can skate, but I can't skate. Read between the lines. Now it's about that time that we get into Lauren London here as Nunu. Oh, God! I thought I was just gonna hop on him. Rashad, my mama ain't home. Man, your mama ain't never home. Like, girl, go on with your little good time self. I'm not interested. I thought I was gonna strictly talk about just getting into Nunu's character. It seemed like she ain't ever around, only when we be kicking it. Like, where she go to school at? Lauren London can't act to save her freaking life. Like, it was low-key taking me out of the film. I don't know how I watched this as a teenager and was like, oh, this is so good. I think I was giving her character grace because, of course, she is supposed to be imitating what it is to be from the hood and be ghetto and be whatever. But the acting all around was bad. Even when she reverts back to her true self and she's no longer Nunu and she's Aaron, it is just so freaking tired. Like, it's so over the top, and I almost let her make it. But watching something as recent as You People, her acting has not evolved at all the entirety of her career. Moments that were memorable to me and endearing, like, oh my God, this is my song. This is my jam. What? Oh, you got a little style.
or whatever. You real confident. Like, I wish you could see what I see. Rashad, like, hey Rashad, like,
Oh my goodness! Who cleared this?
I came over here to see if y'all was gonna go to Big Booty Judy's graduation party. I already know what you're gonna ask me, Teddy. No, not never. Like, exactly. A quick papa.
Like, oh my goodness, it was terrible. It was so freaking terrible. Now, of course, we have Rashad here gravitating towards Nunu. Not only is she forcefully entering his life, making sure she's somewhere he's going to be, trying to be seen, flirting a little bit because she likes him. And in turn, we have Rashad be equally interested in Nunu, not only based off of her being beautiful, but off of the sense of she's a little bit more authentic than everybody else. She feels real, especially in comparison to her mama ain't never home ex-girlfriend Tanya, who's always surrounded by a group of men, but can't help and be jealous of Rashad possibly moving on with another person. Thank goodness my mama ain't home was not dark skin, cause let's get into Vita and Star. Whereas we have two dark-skinned men here as our antagonists, of course we have Big Boi. Boy, stop. Like, Big Boi does not get enough shine here for his role. So many times when we have the depiction of, the local neighborhood drug dealer who is seen here as everything to Ant. This is what I want to aspire to. Even though low-key, if he willing to beat up his own cousin for some C notes, what you think he gonna do to you? Like, jelly beans, sit all the way down. I love the way that he entices and, brings him in only to torment him. The whole scene with the pit bulls, boy, you shaking like a stripper, tighten up. Like, I love the one-liners, the coyness, the charisma that he has about himself. He knows exactly who Ant is right off the bat and takes pleasure in him falling into his web. Yeah, you come on in, and as soon as you break with your weak ass, you're gonna owe me. I'm gonna test you. You're gonna be indebted to me. I enjoy, the push and pull, the back and forth, the banter of knowing how weak you are and the fact that you are gonna break. It's absolutely funny to me. Is that little big brother? Like, now in no way was Marcus Big Boi knocking down Ant's door for him to become a dope boy. He asked, but since you are interested, and even though I know you aren't ready, I know the opportunity that, this could become. Via his character, you can tell more than anything that he enjoys the back and forth, those moments to instill not only comedy, but also fear. And then you get into someone like Keith David, aka Aaron's father, being this wealthy, privileged man who Esquire looks up to. But you also have Esquire lying about where he comes from, with the father assuming that he must be from the city, not wanting anything to do with anything associated with that, let alone letting his daughter be there. I said all that to say, with the strong presence of these two antagonists, two dark-skinned male antagonists, there is still a level of diversity. You get two different types of dimension and character via Keith David and via Big Boi. Boy, stop. And then you also throw in characters like Teddy. Then you also throw in Uncle George, who can at times be considered an antagonist himself. Diversity. We dropped the ball when it comes to the females in this movie. Vita and Star are hanger-ons in this movie to Nunu the entire time. They are repeatedly strategically placed on the opposite sides of her. She is not only the center of attention, but she is the center of their friends group. Outside of Esquire, who can't stand her, all of the other guys are attracted to her, feels like she's the most beautiful, and constantly try to pursue her. Whereas we have the twins, there isn't a lot of interest shown there. They are considered to be super ghetto, loud, shoplifters, underprivileged girls who nobody is checking for, that constantly is just following Nunu, trying to make sure, she gets the man. Girl, that girl Rashad. Like, even though in the film, it is clear that Nunu has attached herself to these new girls just to strongly fit in and, imitate what she feels like it is to be ghetto and be black and be a Nunu. Cause I always rock the new shit. Well, I heard you and your friends don't buy none of that new shit. But we have it depicted to be cute, you know, when Nunu does it.
No, Rashad, my mouth is not that big.
But when we have Vita and Star acting the same way within the film, it is not received the same. Now, of course, we know later on in the film that this is where Nunu feels like she fits in. This is where she really wants to be. And of course, it's highly desired because this is what her father has been trying to keep her away from her entire life. But then you have that whole other dynamic of her imitating Vita and Star as if being, you know, black or being a black girl in the hood, there's only one way to be. Really giving off some of that same energy that we see her father give off later with Esquire. Somebody like Esquire, somebody I see myself in, could never be from that area. And then you have the same thing with Miss Aaron. Somebody like myself, you know, with me being so privileged, or just the way that I act, the way that I speak on a regular basis outside of this little skating ring, it could never be there. Everybody there has to be acting like Vita and Star. And it also didn't really help here that we have Vita and Star be identical twins, acting, saying, and being the exact same way. Even though twins do actually do that in real life, it was a missed opportunity to have, you know, some darker skin representation acting differently. Because whereas I said we do have Tanya here who isn't on the darkest end of the spectrum, and she is only here, my mama ain't never home, and to, you know, give up a little sex from the looks of it, we also get into darker characters like Vita and Star's mother. Get your asses in the trunk. Your asses ain't too old to get beat. Like, you have her here just kind of trying to, I guess, recapture her youth. She doesn't really feel like an attentive parent. She seems a little lazy. We have that scene where she can't tell her two twins apart. She's always, you know, kind of low-key threatening them. And then we have Big Booty Judy. We ain't even gonna get into the male gaze in this movie. I hadn't really noticed how many times we zoomed in on somebody's butt and followed it. But with Big Booty Judy, we take it to an entirely different level. Though we mention her and we see her, we don't have, you know, the decency to give Judy one freaking line or have her just sexualized to the point that we follow her butt. We really don't even see her beyond her waist. And when we get into the party, you have freaking Esquire gripping that thing for dear freaking life, really, you know, sexualizing her, just recapturing that innocence of what it meant to, you know, fall in love and be with someone for the first time. Sitting in Rashad's candy paint car, the whole first kiss, at your best you are loved, her really waking up and seeing that spark in Rashad to see you got talent, like Rashad. No, for real though, Rashad, things are good. Like, oh my goodness. Despite all of that, it's just like you are truly gifted. Rashad is all about being in the moment, being mature, and really sticking to the guns of what's real in my life and what I can trust, especially with him not having a whole lot of consistency from his parents passing away. With Ant really diving into being a dope boy, living his best life, selling the drugs at the school, getting caught, get out the car, homeboy. Like, you know me, you know what it is. Like, T.I. was acting, y'all. Oh Lord, it's little big brother. But him just feeling like I'm losing my grip on my brother. He is losing his way. Worried about getting some freaking Cutty. Like, we can't skip over the Cutty scene. I got some Cutty last night. You ain't getting no Cutty with your little scrawny. I gets the booty, I gets the Cutty, I gets the trim. Like, Rashad's a new man. He got some Cutty last night. Like, I think after this movie, everybody, especially in high school, everything was Cutty this and Cutty that. We all was from ATL for like 5 whole minutes. But just everything seems to be falling apart in Rashad's life. Uncle George is being Uncle George. We don't really care at the fact that Ant is being arrested for selling drugs. Hey, matter of fact, this is going to help me out. I'm burdened with having to take care of y'all. Like the way that he chose to speak to Rashad being reactive, physically fine on Ant. Like, I'm gonna beat some sense into you. Can't you see what you were doing? You are messing up your life. Even when he tries to have that sit down with Ant to show, like, you don't have to be a dope boy to have money. Look at what I've saved working my 9 to 5. If you just give an effort. Matter of fact, I'm not even saving this money for me. I'm saving this for you in case you want to go to college. Rashad was so selfless. Whereas we have Uncle George, you know, hey, he want to sell a little something on the side. Maybe that could put some money in this house for bills, for food, because Lord knows I'm tired of the burden of taking care of y'all. Like, Uncle George was trash. Uncle George was trash, but with everything falling apart in my life, Nunu is the most consistent thing that I have. Until she isn't. You really want to be ghetto. Like,
I'm not going to Brent 10. I'm going to Spelman.
like terrible freaking acting. Via a dinner, Esquire finds out that Nunu is actually Aaron, and she has been lying about who she is the entire time.
You're not telling Rashad. I gotta tell him in my own way.
Oh God, it was painful. You got a Picasso in your house. Esquire was absolutely over it. Like, girl, do you not recognize what you have? Esquire was low-key lost in the sauce, also equating wealth and success to forgetting who you are and where you came from, to the point of him willing to pretend that he is from the city to appease somebody like Mr. Garrett. Bringing me back to Nunu's character and me still feeling like the writing was really good with her, whether or not the acting was poor. Just like I said, you saw her privilege sometimes in the movie and her giving off the same energy as her father, whereas we have her imitating what she feels like it is to be ghetto and black, to be accepted. You also have her display that strong arm and that privilege when she threatens Esquire as to say, you think my father's gonna help you if he finds out who you are and where you come from? If you tell Rashad before I do, you're gonna lose this. I'm gonna, threaten you. Like, that was real privilege pushing through. But you gotta be quicker than that, because your daddy, ooh, that's a nice car, let's touch it, rolled up slow motion style to that skating ring. And it just plays into what we expect. Not only is her And it just plays into what we should expect. Not only is her father judgmental and has, went beyond forgetting where he came from, child. He is disgusted as possible. I don't want my daughter to have nothing to do with it. And yeah, my little biracial, racially ambiguous Lynette McKee wife, you better go sit down too. But we have Esquire, of course, realize what's really important. Me aspiring to greatness and wanting success and even wanting to be something like you doesn't mean that I have to forget where I came from. Even if I have to apologize to my stubborn friend Rashad 50,000 times for him to forgive me. I value where I came from and I value our friendship. I just love how stiff Rashad was. Like, I've had so much change happen in my life. The consistency is what's, keeping me going. And the moment that everything is changing and I don't know who to trust, I need all y'all to give me 50 feet. Now, of course, he does eventually see the bigger picture and forgives all of his friends. But in doing that, of course, we are still jelly bean. All of this, money, we were afforded a little Cutty, a little sex, some real earrings, some status. Child, we was parking lot pimping at the school, popping my collar. But as soon as somebody rolled up on us some real street about that life, we were not able to handle ourselves, got robbed, and owes boy stop some freaking money. I love how he just rolled up to Rashad's emergency stash and just was gonna take it and give it to me. What you not gonna do is roll up in here and take my money that you saw no value in the first place. But I love the whole viral scene that is on TikTok now. Bow. What you doing, Playboy? Like, oh damn, you didn't hit me in my mouth for some money. That's so disrespectful. Even though it is an impactful scene because you really don't know what's going to happen to Ant, it is absolutely hysterical when he calls and hey, guess I'm gonna have to roll up on you, little boy, stop. But just the energy during the altercation and in that freaking chocolate milk. And of course, Rashad, no matter what, not only being a big brother, but being that maternal figure, I am going to always put my brother first and protect him. I will absolutely take a bullet for him. But Ant winds up catching that bullet, and he needed to catch that bullet to sit his ass down somewhere. I love that whole entire scene of Ant being shot and us not really knowing what's going to happen, and just that depiction of Rashad on that window, and you have the condensation coming down to look like tears, and you have the poetry going on in the background, and Esquire, who cannot stand Nunu, knew that, he needs her at this moment. He needs everybody here at this moment. Let me reach out and call her. And then you also have Rashad come to the revelation of, I can't be everything to you all the time. I can't. At some point with you being older, you do have to make decisions for yourself. And maybe it's time that I focus on myself and strive for some of the ambitions that I put on hold to be father, little big brother to you. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. We do have everything come together and be wrapped in a nice little bow. She don't go to Britain, she go to Spelman. And you also have Esquire get that recommendation letter. You have Rashad become an artist. He is writing for, you know, that Sunday newspaper like he always wanted. And Uncle George even finds a girlfriend. Like, Uncle George didn't get a whole lot of redemption. Like, Uncle George was just trash. But I did really enjoy what this movie had to say about Uncle George's or the dynamics of their family, even though it's really brief. Just really brief moments of Uncle George never stepping in when we really needed him to, or them saying stuff like, you know, we never talked or discussed our problems as a family. We only got up and watched Good Times. Like, oh, don't be trying to see me. It was just a really happy ending to a movie that could have been tragic. I was so glad that we decided to keep Ant not only alive, but we have him strive and eventually aspire to be in those honors classes and get a little air, and maybe also go to college. And you have Rashad put those skates down, because I found something that was more important. Not that he just needed to put down those skates forever, but he finally found his own purpose outside of just skating and wanting to be father, little big brother to Ant. Like, oh, it was good, y'all. It was so freaking good. That was my review for ATL. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please drop down and tell me if you did. Like, I had so much fun with this movie, going back and noticing things that I just was not gonna notice as a freaking 16-year-old. But leave those comments. Y'all already know how this works. I love how y'all try to pull up and act like y'all don't know how this works. Like you don't know you're supposed to hit the like button. Like you don't know you're supposed to leave a comment and support your girl in the algorithm. Give up the Cutty. Like, come on. But I see you guys next time for my next video. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.